I've been wanting to take you guys on a new art supply tour for ages, and today I finally got the chance. It's a beautiful, crisp, wintry day. Just heading out for a quick walk, and I'm gonna head back, get nice and warm, grab some tea, then head over to my desk. And I'm gonna set everything up, and we're gonna have a really nice, chill look at all my new art supplies. If you're new here, my name is Helen. I live in Canada. We're going to be looking at journals. We're going to be looking at my paint collection and some fun new pens. So why don't you hit pause and make yourself a cup of tea if you want to as well? All right, let's clear everything off. I'll try my best to list everything down below in the description and the comments, but if I forget and you want any more information about any of this, drop me a note in the comments or just come say hi. So let's settle in for a nice art supply tour. Nothing bad is going to happen here. As I like to say, we're just going to relax and look at art supplies. I'm going to put on a little bit of hand cream because my hands are just very dry right now and I don't want them rasping against each other like two birch twigs that are completely dried out. Grab your cup of tea and just settle in and relax. Just so you know what you're looking at, we're in my dining room workspace. I just work on this little bookshelf that has just the right amount of size to put a piece of paper when I want to paint, and I can fit my laptop over there. This is the tripod that you're seeing here. My tea, obviously, some of my paint supplies, but let's first get into books. This on this side is a napkin holding my microphone so the microphone doesn't knock against everything and make a lot of noise. Let's change the angle. Scooch you guys in. Maybe that's too tight. Perfect. Okay. I'm a writer, so I guess it's no surprise that I love books. These are some that I have from the library now and some that I own. I got this one, the Urban Sketching Handbook, which is about color first, ink later. If you want to learn how to add color first and then sketch on top of it, this has been kind of a nice resource. Another one I've been loving is Urban Sketching, an Artist Guide. This is a really comprehensive beginner's guide to, well, urban sketching. I'm finding it's actually one of the best ones. I've looked at maybe 15 of these so far. This is probably my favorite one so far. Full of great different ways to approach urban sketching and some of the thought processes behind it. I like this one so much, in fact, I might actually try and purchase it. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. These are two that I own because my friend Jess gave them to me as a present. They're just lovely vintage watercolor books. This one is Watercolor for Beginners. And if you're running out of inspiration ideas, this is such a rich source. Finding older books like this, they may be still in print or maybe not, but they're full of great inspiration, even if you feel like you're beyond the beginner, because it is watercolor for beginners. But I mean, you're going to look at some of this right off the hop and you're going to see, like, obviously, once you're into any kind of figure watercolors, that's not really beginner level. So this goes from beginner to intermediate. It's called Watercolor for Beginners. And then another I've been enjoying immensely that she gave me is called Watercolor Workbook, a complete course in 10 colors. So this writer's work is very stylistic, or sorry, this artist's work, Anne Ellsworth, is very stylistic, but it's been fun no less to go back to some of the basics because this does start more on a basic level. And so it's been fun to do studies of some of these as well. So these are my books of the moment. Let's move on now to sketchbooks and paper. Oh, this is probably one of my favorite areas to stock up on supplies. Supplies I really don't need, but I cannot seem to stop myself from purchasing more. I'm at a good point though now, so I'm on a bit of a no buy maybe for the next, well, I'm not going to commit to anything, but let's just say, okay, definitely the next month I'm not buying any more paper. This is just a notebook that is just for writing in. My brother gave this to me for Christmas by Nota. I think this is available. I'm Canadian and I live in Canada. This is, I think, a brand available at Indigo and probably other places as well. Really been enjoying this one so far. I think it's just so pretty. It's rose gold. I don't know how well it's picking up on that. Here's one I'm having a mixed relationship with. And that's this Leuchtturm. I can't remember the name of it. It's got a number associated with it. Leuchtturm 1917, it says there actually. So that's the answer. Leuchtturm means lighthouse in German. It's got this cool little pocket and it's got these nice little stickers that you can use on it when you're done to label it and archive it if you want. Love that. Struggling to get this back in, even though I have both my hands at my disposal. That's a tight fit. Okay, that's probably why I was struggling. It's got this nice elastic band. No qualms about that. It's got two bookmarks, which is kind of new for me. Most of the notebooks I've ever had in my life only have one bookmark inside. And cleverly, one is striped and one is plain colored, so you can tell them apart. So I guess my issue with this is that it's the dotted grid, which is my favorite kind of paper for sketching and drawing. I guess my issue is that I'm finding it a little see-through. It's not so bad. I mean, this one didn't go through too much, but look at this one. This is just pencil, and I went over it kind of hard there, but you can see it through to the other side. So I prefer something a little bit thicker, but I guess with it being so thin, you get lots and lots of pages in there. So these are expensive books. I don't remember what I paid for it, but a lot for what it is. But I think the upside is I'm going to have this for a long time. Would I repurchase it though? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if it was on sale, like 30% off, then I would. Just because it's a little on the pricey side. It's pretty though. I like this gray color. So next up is my favorite, and this is the second one I've had of this. And if you know, you probably recognize this just from the shape and the color. It is one of these Talens art creation. They're also sometimes called Royal Talens. I love these. You can see here, I use this one up all the way to the last page, and I loved having this little size. This was perfect for my purse. Just toss it in there. Let's see. Yes, this is the 9 by 14 in the color coral. Sometimes I like to write what it is in there. I wish I had written whether it was A3 or A4. I'm not someone, being Canadian, that knows like the A3, A4, A5 sizes off the top of my head. I should have written it there, but I didn't. It is small. But I had so much fun over the summer just pulling this out and just doodling away, making little sketches for larger paintings. Just, it brings back happy memories, even just glancing. You can see I got more toward Christmas time here. Oh, people don't like this book. It's kind of divisive. I think you love it or you don't like it at all because mostly it's not that great with wet media, but I'm finding it kind of suitable. A lot of people don't like that it's very dull. I don't mind that. A lot of people don't like that it's a cream color. I also don't mind that. I think it's nice for what it is, for the crazy affordable price. It makes you feel so free. So that was this one. So that's done. I finished that one in fall 2024. So now I upsized to the bigger size. I think in the summer I'll go back to the small size. Seeing as it's like winter, I'm not out with my book out in the field, so to speak, like walking around sketching flowers and stuff like that. I am more in my studio or studio space these days. I don't have a dedicated studio. Enjoying this, though, just as much. And this was quite wet, and I think it did an okay job. It doesn't cost much, and for me, that's very freeing. I don't know. What are your experiences with the Talens books? For me, I think I'll always have one of these. I don't have many colors, but I love that. It comes in so many different colors. I love this color. I love the coral. There's so many others I want to acquire. And it's just nice to think like I can acquire these over years, right? Over a period of years. So 2 thumbs up for these, for price and for making me feel free. And I feel like that's the art supplies that we need, right? The stuff that makes us feel really free. All right, by contrast, this was pricier. I think I might have even kept the label for it. I'm just poking around down here. You can't see me, but I'm poking around down in my storage baskets underneath this bookshelfy desktop. Right. So this was $33.99. And you know what? I bought this at Gouache's, which is a local art supply store. You can get it for cheaper. You can get it on sale wherever. But you know what? They had just reopened after probably a very expensive renovation that seemed to go months and months over. So I was happy just to give them a few extra bucks. Who cares? I like spending my money to support these smaller businesses. And I said in an older video that Gouache's has been around since I was a kid. I remember walking by it, and I'm deep into my 40s at this point. And so it's like a second or third generation business. How great to just like be able to shop there still for in-person art supplies. So anyway, enough about that. This is the watercolor paper journal. acid-free heavyweight cold press, 48 pages. This is the 8.5 by 11-inch size, or that's 21 by 28 centimeters, basically. If you know, you know. Let me tuck that back away. If you know, you know, this stuff is, it's not even getting captured fully here. Let's see. Heavy, heavyweight paper. This can handle your wettest media. You can just soak the whole thing down and paint on top of it, which I did here, and it made the page very wavy indeed, but whatever. After I squash it down, it won't be so wavy anymore. It can hold a lot of water. So for the times you're heavily painting with a heavy-duty amount of water, it's really great. And I never understood that about this. I thought it was like paper overkill, the first one I got, which was the smaller version. I have a full-length video about this Strathmore, like a review. So maybe check that out next if you're interested, or navigate around on my channel for it. It's great. It just holds so much water. I love this journal, but it's for very wet washes. It's a bit overkill for when you're not needing so much. Like, this was not that wet, so, but whatever. I mean, you got to put what you want to see in these journals too, right? So I'm only a few pages in. It looks like more because the pages got a bit wavy, but there's plenty left. So yeah, the most expensive journal I own, but I really like it still. I will buy this again. Even though the brown color's not really that much to my liking, but it looks like a book, right? Like an archival quality book. So I do appreciate that. It doesn't have any like bookmarks or like band to hold it shut. It will look like a book. Let's move on now to papier, paper. Okay. I have a bit of a story about this. Well, it's not much of a story. Cautionary tale? No, that's too strong. Okay. This is Fabriano, 1264, made in Italy. Cold press, watercolor, paper, 140 pound, 300 GSM, 9 by 12. So what I liked about this size is that if someone wants to frame something, if I want to frame something at some point that I make in here, it's a great size for IKEA frames or just standard size frames, because as much as I like Baohong or Micron watercolor paper, I think the sizes I keep getting are not standardized. Well, I'll show you in a second. So then when you want to frame it, it's kind of a bit, well, it's not that it's less than ideal. You should just make art, obviously, in whatever size you like. But I just like the peace of mind of knowing that I could frame this if I wanted to, like just quickly, easily get a frame and not have to bring it to be framed. So the paper itself, let's talk about it. It's nice. It's fine. It's not transcendent though. You know what? Am I expecting too much? It's not perfect. It's not that far above, I think, Canson XL. It's like maybe 1 or 2 steps up from that. Price-wise, at least here in Canada, it's probably about the same. Some people love this paper though, so whatever, you know. I'm not the be-all and end-all of watercolor paper. Oh gosh, that one's not good. That one's not good at all, but I did like this one. Yeah, I'm not the final arbiter, obviously, of any kind of watercolor paper, but I know what I like, and so I don't think I'd be repurchasing this. I'd probably be more inclined to buy some sort of Strathmore paper. I just have really liked their products so far. And the reason mostly I don't like it is that it doesn't hold a lot of water that well. The water really, really pools on the top, and doesn't look great. It tends to like blossom and bloom and stuff like that. So be warned. On the other hand, if you can't acquire it, no big deal. You're not really missing out on that much, in my opinion anyway. So one of my all-time favorite watercolor papers. Oops, I went in. Let's scooch out a little bit. This is Baohong. This is the bigger size. Look how nice. I mean, not necessarily my painting. This is based on the artist Crystal Tan's. I think if you want to do this as well, I think this tutorial was Lucy Goosey Watercolors? Watercolor Poppies, maybe? I can't remember anymore. But when I paint along with her, I always use this paper because she paints very wet. So that's how I've been judging what to make with each watercolor paper I have, mostly. Does that make sense? Like if it's very wet, I'll use the ones that handle water better. Rather than some people do it by subjects. Like some people will put only flowers in like one book, and then like with another type of paper, they'll make only XYZ. But for me, I just pick by how wet it's going to be. It's just so freeing to use a really nice quality cotton paper. But, it does end up being, I think, a couple bucks each piece of paper. But Crystal Tan, I think, said in one of her tutorials that, even if you're using the expensive paper, it's only a couple of dollars for a really nice long painting session, and not many things are that affordable. Certainly not therapy is not that affordable. So I thought that that was a good point, and I try and keep it in mind. So this is what it looks like. It's a block, right? Taped on all sides, has an opening here. I'm going to show you the size because I found the other size a little too small. So 15 inches by 10 by 2 or 380 by 260 millimeters. So that's 38 by 26 centimeters. Like this size, a bit large though. A bit large, but still a delight. The paper's so good. Of course, you could always cut it in half and have a really nice size too. And that actually would probably make it super affordable. If you are enjoying this so far and enjoying just relaxing here with me, even touching that paper quickly has dried out my hands again. I'm like the crypt keeper over here. Please consider liking and subscribing. That would really help me out. I'm just a really small channel right now, and I would love to make more videos. So when you like and you subscribe, that lets me know that you've enjoyed it, and I should make more. And it lets me know which of my videos you have enjoyed. I don't think I have anything new to report since my last video about my watercolor brushes. I just use Cotmans right now. I'm moving into oil painting soon, guys, so that'll be another supply video because I've never done any oil painting. But for now, I'm just into watercolor. These are my brushes. I just like the way they feel and how they sound. They have like this nice clacking sound that they make. I find sensory-wise, I just really enjoy them. So nothing new there. I have had some new additions here since I last did a supply tour. Let me just grab a sip of tea. And what's new here is these two Sailor Fude Demanin pens because I've taken up a little bit of urban sketching. Let's see. I love having a little bookshelf underneath me. It just makes everything at hand when I want to grab things. Um, I dabble in urban sketching. I'm not going to go on like I'm fantastic at it. I most certainly am not. But once in a while, the mood strikes me. So I painted a nearby house. And I wanted to get pens for this and just for other sketching, of course, as well. And so I think for this painting I used this. Ooh, look at that. I put a new cartridge in and it's just very, very inky right now. So I'm going to wipe that off before I use it. Maybe lay that on its side. This is the one that everybody loves, though. This is people's number one. I don't like it as much. I feel like that's some sort of urban sketching sacrilege to admit that, but I don't. I like the 40-degree angle, which is far less popular. Oh, and I found that these little Kiwaguru inks are waterproof as well. They're not as waterproof, though, as carbon platinum or platinum carbon black. Carbon platinum. Okay, you guys know which one I'm talking about. But this whole set was like 10-ish bucks for 12 of them. So I thought, let's just try that first before I invest in the converter and everything else. Maybe I don't even like the pens. Turns out I do like the pens, but yeah, let's deal with this now. So I'm just going to wipe this off a wee bit. Yeah. I just put a new cartridge in yesterday. And so I should not have left it in there like this, facing downward all night. Now it's pooling. But you can see here, I tested this out on another video. I even put a little bit of watercolor over it. You can see that even with the Kiwaguru waterproof ink, it's not completely waterproof, but it's pretty good. I went over it. I didn't let it dry long enough, though. You really need to let it dry, but even still, I'm not finding it to be perfect. Yeah, I did some other tests for another video I have here. This is the 40-degree. Let's see what's happening here. For me, this is like plenty of variation. I actually don't need it more than this. That's pretty thick. Whereas I guess in theory, you get even more variation with the Sailor 55-degree Fude, which means brush, Demanin. I don't know why it's called Demanin, but it is. Yeah, this one goes even wider. Caveat though, these get loose. I feel like I'm often just because your hand might not be tilted. Your hand constantly is like pressing here, which loosens it from here. So whenever I'm sketching with these, I'm finding that I'm a fiddly person too. Like I like things to be how I like them to be. I don't like things to be loosey-goosey. So I often find myself in there just twitching at this thing. So other than that, though, I love these pens. I think they're great. I can't remember if I had a bunch of Microns, Pigma Microns last time that I sat down to do an art supply tour, but I do. I've acquired 3. I acquired a 3-pack. Oh, this is coming back to me. Yes, in my Roman Schmal video, I did talk about having these 3. And I purchased them not because I really wanted them so much, is that I just wanted to get to like a minimum shipping threshold. And so this is something I was thinking at some point I would buy. So that kind of got me to bite the bullet, I guess. Okay, so this is the 005. I like this one for drawing lines inside of flowers. And then probably my favorite one, just like multi-purpose one, is this 02. These are all black, by the way. And then I like this chunky one too, because I think my personal handwriting looks best with a chunkier line. I do like these. I mean, they're popular for a reason. The thing I don't like, though, I've said this before, is this metal goes too far to the end. So if you are someone who sometimes wants to go on the side like this, you see, I'm not catching at all. 'Cause sometimes I like to hold back here. So then you have to re-angle yourself if you want to do that. Listen, this is nitpicky stuff. These are great pens. Who are we kidding? I think I showed you guys this one. Sometimes I use it a lot and sometimes I don't. This is my Coral 131 Albrecht Dürer Faber-Castell. These are the pencils that are water soluble. So when you draw something in with them, well, the cool thing is they're water soluble. And this is a light tint, right? So it doesn't tint things very much. So once you water it down and you put your watercolor over it, it kind of dissolves it. Now, I don't know if you're going to see this, but here, I used it here to sketch this banana instead of using like traditional pencil. If you see here, there's just the faintest of this color, right? So let's just say this is here. And then once you're coloring it back in, it kind of just disappears like that. See? So it's great for using for outlines because when you're finally watercoloring in there, it disappears. Okay, I guess I'm going to let that dry now. I wet this page just for you guys. All right, let's talk about these 2 little things. Get this out of the way. I better clip this. I just use these bulldog clips when I clip things, or I have like wooden clothes pegs as well. And I can't find my wooden clothes peg. That's typical. Okay. So now we're getting into the realm of paints. This is always the thing I feel compelled to talk about last. I don't know why. I've got this designer's gouache. Was it worth paying for a Winsor & Newton designer gouache over regular gouache? I probably could have got a tube that big, 4 times the size of this, and I probably should have done that as well because in the small amounts of gouache that I do use, did not need to overspend. Sorry, I'm looking around for a book. I did not need to overspend or go up to the designer's gouache because I use very little. I use it very sparingly, and so a lower quality one, the a student grade one would have been just fine. For instance, I used it on this highlight of this tomato, just a little bit here. So I'm not even using it all that much. So I overspent on that for sure. Let me tell you the story of this. This is Winsor & Newton's Permanent Rose. It's the only watercolor tube I own. I'm not someone who wants to collect tubes. I mean, with the exception of this one, I don't want tubes. I like these half pens and I like Roman Schmal specifically. But Winsor & Newton's Permanent Rose is so good. It's such a great rose color. So when this student grade one ran out in this original pocket palette set, when this ran out, I bought this tube because I wanted to go up a level because it was a beautiful color, but a tiny bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like little pieces were kind of coming off when I was getting to the end of when I was starting to pan it. little tiny chunks would break off and it was kind of annoying. So I wanted to actually just invest in the better quality stuff that's not as chalky. So then I got this permanent rose. So the secret is if you're refilling with tubes, don't just squirt a whole bunch in at once. Squirt in 1/3 of it. Use a toothpick to smooth it out. Let it dry. Come back the next day. Go in for level 2. Come back a third day. Go in for level 3. So it's kind of a nitpicky thing, but I used a little toothpick. Leveled it all out. It looked really nice. I was very proud of myself. Sometimes it's the little things, right? Permanent rose. Love it. Yeah, so these are the 2 tubes. Now that I've opened this, I did some sort of Frankensteining with this. This was not the original set at all. Let's see, do I still have the box? No, I thought I kept the box that this came in originally, but I haven't gone to that level of hoarding it, so that's good. In this, there are many, many swaps. So what was happening was that after I used some, I just didn't want to have them in there anymore. Like Winsor & Newton makes some colors I don't like that much. It came with this Viridian green, which is right here, and I didn't like it. So I took that out and I swapped in Roman Schmal's olive green here. And then I used up all the sap green. I think I did. I don't see it. Yeah, I put the sap green away somewhere. And I bought Roman Schmal's sap green instead. That was a mistake. Next time I'm going to upgrade, when I finish this, I'm going to get Winsor & Newton sap green again because you know what? They're really well known for the sap green and it was nicer. Roman Schmal's is too bright. This is Roman Schmal's lemon yellow. When I finished my OG lemon yellow, the cool thing about Roman Schmal paint half pans is that they fit into this perfectly. So you would just pop these ones out, pop them out, and you pop in new ones. Let's see. This was Roman Schmal permanent rose that we were talking about. This is Roman Schmal indigo. This is the original Winsor & Newton. This is Roman Schmal paints gray. You might be seeing a a pattern here, which is I love his paint so much. This is Van Dyke brown, also Roman Schmal. This is turquoise, also Roman Schmal. This is ultramarine blue. That came in here originally. That was the Cotman. So I have this Altoids tin. My mom likes this mint, so when she's done with these, she she gives them to me, these empty tins. So I'm the recipient of these when she's done. She finishes up these mints, and then I get to keep the tin, and I just use it to hold some of these in here. I can probably put maybe this yellow. I'll pop in here. They're like just in here loosely. So these are just my overflows. These are Rosa paints from Ukraine, right? This is the purple and this is the silver that they make. And they're so potent, so bright and like very, very pigmented. This is the best Roman Schmal color ever. It's buff titanium. I love this shade. It's so nice. It makes everything look like an oil painting. And it can really tone down things that are like this turquoise or this magenta. It will take it to a different level entirely. It's great to have on its own. It's great to mix with other paints. If you're on the fence, buy it. You're going to like it. I was not paid by Roman Schmal to say that. I just like his paint a lot. And then just in the lid here, I usually just leave some extras. And these are, again, Roman Schmal. So Roman Schmal, Winsor & Newton, and Rosa. Those are the only paint brands I have for now. Not against owning other ones. These are just the ones that I have because when I finished the Winsor & Newton, I wanted to move into Roman Schmal because they just looked great. I really wanted this turquoise really badly. I wanted this buff titanium really badly. I wanted this magenta really badly. And those are still my 3 favorite out of all the ones I've tested. I've been a little less impressed with the oranges and the yellows. The sap green for me, I will not rebuy. But everything else has been just a sheer delight from his line of paints. They're pro grade, they're affordable, and they swap in nicely into this palette. So I can reconfigure this any way I want. Yeah. I've been loving these paints. I think you can see that. They look very well used. They look so dirty. When I first started watercolor painting, I would see people's dirty palettes and I would think, oh, I will never let my palette get like that. I like things to be so clean. That didn't last very long. You can even see my table is splattered. I do wipe it occasionally, but my goodness, just one session and you're back to Splattersville again. All right, everybody, please do like if you enjoyed this. And thanks for hanging out with me. That was fun. I hope you're nice and relaxed now. You can get on with the rest of your day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.